Con, man. WTF is going on in Texas. What it means for Hebrew Israelites, man. It's your brother Apostle Yadiah, Chief Apostle of the Messiah, right? Back at it with another live stream. I told you I was gonna be doing more live streams, and I'm gonna be doing that. So I got a slate of topics I want to talk about, all of which I mentioned on the last live stream on Friday night. Uh, yeah, it's a lot going on, bro. It's a lot, and I live in Dallas, Texas, right? Live in DFW. There's a lot going on, boy. I tell you, it's a lot going on, bro. And before we get into that, right? So there's a little bit of housekeeping we got to do. Hit that like button if you love the Lord, if you love God. I don't care if you're Hebrew Israelite, Christian, atheist, or even what are the somebody who's in Kemet who loves serving Gab or whatever you want to do. Like, hit the like button, right? Hit the share button, right? Just share this out to get this out for everybody living in Texas, whether or not you believe you want to agree with me or not, we're Israelites or whatever. This is big news for people who live in Texas, right? At least two of these. What else we got going? Drop a comment on there. Say, oh, I hate you, Yada. Why are you an apostle? Drop that in there, right? If it be on your heart, leave a super chat. Or if you don't want to give YouTube or the white man your money, when you give a super chat or a super thanks, depending on what time you see this video, hit hit $ Masada DTX, man. What's going on in Texas? Oh, we about to talk about it, right? We about to talk about what's going on in Texas, because by God, right? By God, bro. Is first on deck calling from NYC. Look, man. It might be a little bit better for y'all in NYC, man. My mom Donnie out there doing this thing. But yeah, man, we got a lot going on in Texas. I'm gonna talk about these three things, and after we talk, I'll just say these three things first, then we'll hit that, right? So we have certain people protesting. They did this last year. They protested in ICE, I guess, detention center, because you know what they do out here to the Hispanic people out here. It's damn near a Gestapo. It's damn near like First Reich out here with the way they do Hispanic people. So they were going to protest that, shoot off some fireworks, and basically, protest. It went south. Now these guys got 100 years. Somebody got 50 years, and somebody who wasn't even there, who was friends with the people who went there, got 30 years. Right? That needs to be talked about because of the way they charge these people, and the way they charge these people. You could easily do this to Hebrew Israelites camps or however. This set a horrible precedent that we all should know about. So that needs to be talked about. And that was out there. I think it's either near Houston. I think it's near Houston. We'll watch the clip, right? Another thing. We have the small hats again, the shekel shaggers and the goyim oppressors. They're putting the battery in the back of San Antonio's mayor to cancel the Kanye concert. These people show themselves to be the devil at every aspect, right? They don't care about free speech. They don't care about whatever's going on in America. If you offend these people, even if you apologize, you got to be deplatformed. Right, we're gonna talk about that. To get you black ass. Hey, look, it's a lot easier said than done, brother. What's the third one? Oh, Texas passed a law about 24 hours ago. It may have been Friday. No, that was Friday. So they passed a law saying that the Bible will now be read as part of the curriculum in the schools. Right, and this goes back to what I was saying on Friday and on Wednesday when I reviewed Captain Tazariak's debate. These people hide evil things in good intentions. So us being Bible believers, yeah, we should want our kids to know about the Bible. But wait a minute, these people who teach the Bible also teach antinomianism. You don't have to keep the laws of God. That's what that word means. That's a fancy way of saying that. They don't have to keep the laws of God. God is a triune. He's not a who. He's a what. What else? The virgin birth, various Christian theologies. It's going to be taught from a Christian theological lens. Do you want us believing Israelites? Do you want your children learning that? Do you want to have to learn how to combat that in your child every single day? No, I don't want that. No. That is horrible. Because the only thing they're going to tell our kids is the image of the beast. And that's really what this is honestly going, like this whole lesson is going to be wrapped around. Like in Revelation 13 about the image of the beast. All of these 3 points highlight what that is going to be. Like Americanism, we have to love the quote unquote small hat people, the shekel shaggers, and various different names that I can't say on YouTube for specific reasons that y'all all know about. All of that is wrapped around the image of the beast. And we're going to get into all that. So before we get into all that, our good brothers from Houston, they came out for camp yesterday. Good brothers from Houston, from Jeshurun, their brethren, Yaquab, y'all should know Yaquab. He's been doing this just as long as me. Yaquab has come out with a new single. And our brother Yakamai, our cameraman out here in Dallas, has come out with a new song. We about to play those right now, right smack now. So we're gonna start with Yaquab's song, and then we're gonna jump back into these clips. So let me do this. Boom. Let me
Yup. Cause I spit out fire, nigga. Yaquab back on it. We living up in hell here, and everything ain't all well here. My nigga, hell yeah. Y'all talk to him one time. Yup. Yeah, it's heaven and it's hell, nigga. Top of the morning, I know it's been a minute. On the beat, I raise hell since I'm living in it. Greenbacks, you chasing after the cheese. The devil walking the block and it's 500 degrees. Dope man pulling up in a Bentley, a small tease. To them young niggas pushing that hard and tall tees. Try and make it out, cause you can make a lot. Trapping out the vacant with stains, busting the breaker box. Drug dealers and pimps that roll skips. Bullet wounds to the body, exaggerating this limp. Yeah, that'll get you respect. And renegade lil homies need the OGs to keep them in check. It's war with gun smoke in the air from self-hatred. I graduated, look mama, we made it. Yeah, out the cage of the piranhas, where niggas never heard of honor. They slime you out for designer, nigga. It's been a minute, the minute the Lord back. Carrying the nation, I'm feeling it in my Lord back. Bringing better days, homie, we changing the forecast. Breaking levees, cause the message is heavy as Snorlax, yeah. Yeah. We living up in hell here. My nigga, hell yeah. I got you this verse too right here. Listen. Hey, you see my old man, tell him I said holla at me. I was a young man hoping he'd throw some dollars at me. They bought my sister some food, that made my mama happy. Told me bring my ass inside, she think I'm lollygagging. Hey, I ain't gonna lie, we was hanging out, trying to see what that gang banging about. Yeah, criminality pays, that was the wave. We was just trying to get a grip 150 ways, nigga. Now I'm trying to repent so I could be saved, nigga. Nah, I don't think I'm holier than thou. Unless you a heathen, and I'm definitely holier than now. Big Bible got me surfing through the crowd, nigga. It's Yaquab, I finesse him with the style. NLTs and KJVs, it's getting wild, nigga. Where's heaven? We ain't seen it in a while. When the enemy is so hostile, cause we living up in hell here. My nigga, hell yeah. Yup. I tell the truth, I lie to you not, man. We living up in hell here. And everything ain't all well here. We off that welfare, nigga. Yup. We out.
Good. So that was, look at that, they just switched it on. That's a good song too, the only saints. That was Heaven and Hell by Yaquab, right? Yeah, as y'all can see right there, y'all should be able to read that. That's Yaquab. Heaven and Hell. So now let's play some DTX stuff, just real quick. Y'all got to see this song. I remember we heard this. We was in San Antonio a weekish ago. Not San Antonio, Austin a weekish ago, and Yakima played this song. Look, we was gonna play that live, right? So check this out. Is Big Bang Yacht endure?
Confessing my sins, hoping I won't transgress again. Emotions within, they tilt, but I will never break a bend. When challenged in this furnace, that fire builds acceptable men. Don't break a bend, endure your trial to the end. Striving for a ruling position, know it's a lot at stake. A lot of people die in this furnace, this ain't no easy bake. The heat will melt your pride away. From his eyes, there ain't no hiding place. Examine yourself daily to prove whether you in the faith. Facing our traumas, the hardest thing we done did. Been warring inside our minds and been mentally torn since a kid. And still, we haven't healed. Brain scarred from pills. Chemical alterations make social encounters weird for real. We try to hide the pain too heavy not to let it show. It holds us down daily. Bear your cross, you better not let it go. Embrace the pain, it makes us grow. Release the shame and let it flow in past situations you're facing. Can't run away no more. You got a big heart full of love, but it's badly bruised. Used to partake in dating, but fear being misused. Just know it's a test, but it's stressful. You try your best, they neglect you. Out of love, you gave it all to a woman that ain't respect you. She fell and you tried to catch her. You did your best to protect her. She switched, but you never left her. She lost the hedge of protection. But our actions could have been better. Our examples warped to perception. We probably forced our perspective. We hurt her, scarred her, fell for so long. Father, forgive us for all the people we ever hurt. Criticizing ones with good intentions made them question their worth. And anyone we verbally abused made them question their worth. The lies we told to make it work and life we took away from her. Fighting off temptations, a daily battle with Satan. Of he who makes the rules, hope I'm never in violation. Yeah, whatever, nigga, you say that, but contradicting your state. In your heart there still remains hatred from unresolved situations. Still prone to frustration and physical altercations. And ended up telling lies to hide what it was we were facing. Our hypocritical ways I look upon with much disdain. And suicidal contemplations I turned away from. I'm changing. Came a long way from the wicked stuff you was caught into. From Santeria bees, the water that you was talking to. Idolatry is sad and sickening, pleading guilty. Lord, we filthy sins from my past I committed. Praying the Lord forgive me. Give all our transgressions, forgive me for all my sins. Forgive all of the things that we didn't but coulda did. All the lies over the years that caused eyes to shed tears. Constant trial that I felt still got consequences I fear. But sin and disease and I study Christ to receive the cure. Please burn this filthy brown garment off me and make me pure. Refine me, Lord, and make me sure that I won't stray away from you. I pray to you to make it through, so all that's left to do is endure.
Yeah, that was a Big Bang Yak Endure. That's our cameraman out here in Dallas. This dude was talking about, oh, I don't know if I should put this song out. I said, nigga, that song go hard as fuck. But yeah, if y'all want to see that, I put the link in the chat. I should be the first link inside of like on the page. It should be the first one. I'll link it again. Where is it? I put it in the chat as well. But yeah, we gotta listen. We had listened to that, bro. We had listened to both these songs. We gotta love these songs. Add stuff to the playlist. So we gotta look at this. We're gonna start off. Actually, before we start anything, because there's a lot of clips we're gonna be watching today, right? So fair use, copyright disclaimer, right? It's fair use for purposes of such as criticism, commenting, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. We're doing all those things today, right? So, like I said earlier, this case right here that just got resolved with these people who protested this ICE detention center, we need to pay attention to things like this because this is where it starts. They start locking people up like on who are doing things on the left, opposite of what the government believes in because of the ideology or concept of it. When you start seeing people start doing things like that, that's going to expand to everybody else. Who is part of the everybody else? Hebrew Israelites. Because what we believe is counter to what the government teaches and its ideologies and its philosophies. Just like in Rome, if you taught anything contrary to Rome's ideologies and philosophies, or Caesar especially, or Kaiser, right, they're going to come and take you. That's why our people said something like, when the only king we have is Caesar. That's where that ideology came from, because Romans were saying that. But let's start into this. Let's go watch this real quick.
So some extremely lengthy sentences were handed down in a court in Texas for some anti-ICE protesters. Let's put the New York Times article up on the screen that breaks down some of the details here. Protesters accused of Antifa ties sentenced to up to 100 years in ICE attack. The subhead says the penalties issued in an attack where a police officer was shot dwarfed those given to January 6 rioters, appeared to signal at least some courts will deal aggressively with ICE protesters. Let me just read a little bit here so you can get the details. The leader of a group of protesters accused of being members of Antifa was sentenced on Tuesday to 100 years in prison after a jury found him and 7 other demonstrators guilty of supporting terrorism while taking part in an armed assault last summer against an immigration facility in Alvarado, Texas.
So they're trying to say it's an armed assault, and that's not exactly what happened, but that's what they did. We're in Texas. Everybody has the pew pew on them. Like this it's just what it is. Right? Everybody has the pew pew in Texas. So anytime something happens, the first thing the media always does is say, "Oh, they've got guns," and especially since these are like left-leaning people, like when it comes to politics, they're automatically going to say that they're Antifa. No matter what, if you do anything that's contrary to republicanism or the ideologies of republicanism, in Texas especially, they're going to say you're Antifa. Is there any evidence for it? No. But you know what we can do? Just say Antifa, because that's a buzzword, right? So, and what does that word carry? Antifa? Terrorism. That's why they did this specifically. But watch.
Extraordinary sentence against the protester Benjamin Song was only one of the harsh penalties meted out in the case during separate hearings in federal district court in Fort Worth by 2 judges who castigated the defendants for using violence and attacking the democratic process during the protest. 9 young demonstrators, including Mr. Song, were found guilty in March of an array of charges stemming from the attack on the ICE facility. 6 of the defendants were convicted of terrorism charges, along with Mr. Song, sentenced to between 50 and 70 years. Another was found guilty of lesser crimes, was not even present at the protest, and was given a term of 30 years in prison. A final defendant is scheduled to be sentenced next month.
Look, if I'm that final defendant, I'm like, look, you might as well go ahead and kiss your family goodbye, because they about to throw the book at your ass. We thought it was just Carmelo. Nah, they're throwing the book at anybody who's on the left. That's what they're doing. That is what they doing. This is crazy though, right? 100 years. The other 6 people got 50 to 70 years, bro. All they did was light fireworks. One person let the pew pew off, but like everybody else just lit fireworks. That's terrorism. You see what I mean? That's like things like that. Think about what Hebrew Israelites do at camp and what we be saying. These people lit off fireworks and they're accusing them of terrorism. Watch this.
Joining us now to break down this case, and in particular these incredibly lengthy sentences, how the federal government made these charges stick and what they argued in order to secure these 30, 50, and 100-year sentences, is Pisco. He is both YouTuber at the channel Pisco Liddy and also a lawyer. So great to see you, Pisco.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Pisco, that's somebody y'all should follow as well. Like when I look at my news, I'm not watching CNN, I'm not watching Fox News, I'm not watching MS Now, I'm not watching all this legacy media, NBC. I'm not watching all that legacy media. That's brainwashed and state regime propaganda for your grandmother and them. Oh, Trump's doing the best he can. Like that's where that comes from. If y'all want good alternative media, Breaking Points, Pisco, this guy's on it. He's pretty good. What's another one? Midas Touch, Redacted, Secular Talk. All of those are very good YouTube channels that post something every single day to keep you like in the know about what's going on. So if y'all want to go if you want to see what I'm on every day, that's what I'm on.
Yeah, so start with what was this protest? It seems like the government argued that they all conspired as part of an Antifa cell to go and try to murder a law enforcement officer. Is that in fact what happened here based on the evidence?
So there's a lot of disputes factually about sort of their participation in Antifa. There's disputes even among the government's own witnesses about whether they, in fact, were members of Antifa, but certainly a lot of sort of left-wing sympathies when we're talking about the affiliations of the group. But in sum and substance, they're accused of on July 4th at around 10 o'clock at night going to the Prairland Detention Center in Alvarado, Texas, to shoot off fireworks. And that's where the kind of divergence occurs on the facts. According to the protesters, that was all that they were there to do, was to shoot off fireworks and to have like a noise demonstration to inspire the members of the, who are being incarcerated there in the detention center. But the government alleges that it was a lot more of a corrupt motive and a motive to, in fact, like incite a riot and potentially even to ambush members of law enforcement. But we can get into the weeds.
Well, yeah, let's get into the weeds. Like, what evidence do they have? I mean, they wind up getting convictions here. But what evidence do they have that they were trying to organize some sort of ambush or riot? Like having covered a lot of left-wing groups and protests in the past, the idea that they would show up and set off some fireworks and that would be the goal of the protest sounds.
Oh shoot! I didn't mean to do that. I want y'all to pay attention to the points that he's going to make, because Pisco's going to explain like how they came to their conclusion to say they're guilty. I want y'all to pay attention to these things and see how they're actually really, if you think about it, applicable to how Hebrew Israelites move.
Entirely plausible and accurate. Like that is what groups and activists like this do. Like, it would not be at all strange. They let's do some fireworks, bring some attention here. It's July 4th. This is America. Civil disobedience. It's a fine. But the idea that they're going to set up an ambush and start killing people, like what? So what in the weeds? Like, what evidence do they have, or did they present that there was some other murderous motive here?
Yeah. So first is the fact that some of them brought guns to the actual site of the protest, and there was in fact the ringleader. Yeah, in Texas.
Yeah, in Texas, we all have guns. All of them. That's just what we do, right? It's this thing called Second Amendment. We're citizens. Y'all naturalize us with y'all's amendments. So as a citizen, we respect the Second Amendment. That's what we do here, man.
That's right. Well, and you get into a lot of these conversations too about Alex Preddy and whether or not it's de facto unreasonable or de facto criminal intent to show up to a protest with guns and so open carrying or doing anything like that. So the evidence that the government relied on is, number one, that what they're wearing, right? They make a lot of the fact that they're in black bloc, that the fact that they all have code names, that they turned off their cell phones in advance of what was happening here.
They have code names. They're wearing black and they're assembling with guns. Now, does that fit certain Hebrew Israelites? Because it damn sure be fitting us on some days. Right? Because you have to everybody else, they don't respect us having Hebrew names. They don't respect us naming ourselves or surnaming ourselves after Israel, like the Bible talks about. So they're gonna look at that like it's a code name. Wearing all black. I mean, certain camps literally do that. Our new shirts that we have, all black. What was I gonna say? They got a little bit of gold, but all black. What's that other thing? They said they're protesting with guns. Now, what you would see, what we do, with us going out on the streets and teaching the Bible, that is literally a form of protesting, right? That honestly is part of that's an extension of your freedom of speech. Let me show you that real quick, right? Just from the ACLU, right? Like the right to protest, right? The right to protest. It says the right to protest is a long-standing protection afforded by the U.S. and Texas constitutions. So not only does the United States Constitution protect the right to protest as an extension of your First Amendment, so does Texas. It's part of Texas Constitution. When they came over here and saw the Hispanics and said, "This is our land. Here's a piece of paper, Texas Constitution." That's Texas history. If y'all want to look into that, but they're double covered. right? State and federally, right? Also, the Second Amendment and Texas laws allowed us to open carry in Texas. So they are really, and they're not breaking any type of law. But for some reason, we can use those circumstances to convict people. That's one word. It's called an agenda. It's an agenda. That's what this is. Just like an agenda can be made against Hebrew Israelites. It starts with them just arresting the people on the left, but our belief system is opposite of what is to the right of America. Like the right side, the Republicans, very conservative views. Some things we intersect on, but for the most part, we believe we're the Israelites. They believe those small hats are the Israelites, right? They believe in Christianity. We believe in this. We believe that America is going to topple this government according to the Bible. They believe God bless America, right? It's very easy to show where we stand on this side, on the left, and they stand on the right. So when you see them afflicting people like this on the left with their court system, their judicial system, which they've always done to minorities, mind you, right? When you start seeing them do that, we shouldn't be surprised when they try it for us. And knowing this type of information, we should operate accordingly, right? I'm not trying to say we need to be afraid. I'm not trying to say, because the Bible talks about this would happen anyway. But I'm not saying we need to be afraid, but we need to be wise in the things we do and the things we say in our chats, because they could always send somebody to cause something like this and then get us all arrested. And when you see how they convicted them, you'll see why I'm saying that specifically. But it says the right to protest is the longstanding protection afforded by the U.S. and Texas constitutions. This right is contained both in the freedom of speech and in the freedom to assemble. That's also part of our rights. You can assemble, which protect not only the ability to verbalize protest and engage in symbolic speech, such as wearing an armband, but to arrange peaceful marches and protests on certain public lands. That's exactly what Hebrew Israelites do. If you think about it, what we do is that's why they can't arrest us as long as we're on public property, right? As long as we're not on private property and we assemble and teach the Bible, we're covered under this amendment. We're covered under these specific rights, right? So when we see people infringing on these rights who are on the left and they're getting treated a certain type of way, we should move a certain type of way and know that this is what the devil does, right? Just like you said, man, we need to be aware of Satan's devices. Brother, also, you need to text me too. I need to talk to you specifically. Let's go back into this.
Here that they brought guns in the first place, that they had like medical kits there, presumably to treat any injuries that could occur. So on the one hand, you have like, well, why are you bringing guns here? One of them actually did fire towards an officer, and he was the one who was convicted with attempted murder. But
the one that got 100 years, he's the only one who fired at an officer because the officer was about to just unload on people for no reason because they know they're protected. That's the dude that got 100 years. If you want to convict him, fine. 100 years though, and not killing, that's kind of crazy. But that's the only one who did do that. But the other ones were there just lighting fireworks.
On the other hand, you have no sort of messages from these various signal groups that seem to indicate, at least explicitly, that their intent was to ambush members of ICE or of the police department who later on came. So there's what the defense might point to is like a lack of corroborating evidence of explicitly violent motive within the messages that occurred. There's what one attorney also points to is the fact that there's not even like messages about going and vandalizing property, which they also did. And so you might look at the absence there, but then also the fact that they, if their goal was to ambush, why weren't they more well armed? Why wasn't this better coordinated? And there start to be a little bit of a repeat of some of the arguments levied regarding January 6th about whether or not it's plausible that their intent here was to get them to come out just to kill them. If that were the case, then why wasn't it quote unquote more successful?
Yeah, and that too, January 6th. Those are the people on the right going in there. And when I say the right, I'm talking about the Republican side. You know what I mean? Those people and conservatives. Those people stormed the Capitol building, and they got pardoned by the conservative president, quote unquote. They got pardoned. even though, and a lot of them are actually going to jail for doing child PDF things. Anybody can look this up. These same people who Donald Trump is pardoning are actually going back to jail for new charges of child PDF file behavior. So looking at that.
Okay, so you've got in the one category, you have the protester who did fire a weapon at an officer. The officer is hit. That's the one that's getting 100 years. At the other end of the spectrum, and what I think will lead any reasonable person to look at this and go, this is insane. You have someone convicted and sentenced to 30 years in prison here who was not even at the protest.
Yeah, that's good. This is getting to where it can really affect Hebrew Israelites. Somebody who's not even there is getting 30. Imagine you not going to something and it went south and you get 30 years for being friends with the people. Like that is crazy. That right there, like, if I wasn't so strong in my faith, that would be scary. That is incredibly scary.
Let's put this Guardian article up on the screen. So they say the ninth defendant, Daniel Sanchez Estrada, was not at the protest, but was convicted of corruptly concealing a document or record after prosecutors said he moved left-wing zines and other materials at the request of his wife after she was arrested. He was sentenced to 30 years in prison. So it says the charge doesn't require prosecutors to prove a connection to any kind of terrorist ideology, only that a defendant provided support for one of a list of several crimes. The Justice Department spun the convictions as proof that Antifa was a terrorist organization. So I want to repeat for everyone, because I read this like 10 times to really process it and be like, it can't be the case that he was convicted and sentenced to 30 years in prison for moving some leftist literature, but that is literally the case here.
He got 30 years for giving out leftist literature. You know, that's the same thing as a Hebrew Israelite flyer. I want everybody to know that you hand out a card. We have cards. We don't really do the flyers because I feel like that's outdated. We have the cards where it has a QR code on it. It'll take you to our website and our links. You flip it over. It's got Bible verses proving we are the Israelites, right? And in direct opposition to who the world calls as the Israelites and the Jews. That's leftist things. Everybody who's in a camp and does the work, this is things that you need to be worried about, right? They're not even really worried, but just cognizant of. We can't be ignorant of Satan's devices.
Wife was at the protest. She gets arrested. She calls her husband. He moves whatever this literature is, which, by the way, they offered in evidence, some of these things. And it's, kind of what you would expect. There were things about immigrants' rights and how to stand up to ICE and these sorts of things. In any case, you're allowed to, read whatever you want in this country. That's supposed to be the idea. And yet for this action, he was sentenced to 30 years in prison.
For using his ability of like an extension of freedom of speech. If I write something that's different and contrary to what the government is saying, specific, that's literally an extension of your freedom of speech. They just created, just like how the small hats do with various other enemies they have over there in the Middle East. They create enemies to leverage them later into getting into wars and specific things. That's the same thing America did with Antifa. Quite literally. Quite literally. So they're leveraging that to say, oh, he disagrees with the government. So does Antifa. He's Antifa. He's a terrorist. 30 years. Right? What's stopping them doing that from us?
There were a number of the protesters who had already, when the security guards showed up and said, you guys got to go, left before the weapon was ever even discharged. There was the one protester who fired the weapon. There were some who participated in acts of vandalism. There were the fireworks, no one injured, just fireworks that were set off. And now you have these sentences of 30, 50, and 100 years, Pisco.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, these are great points that you're raising. It would be one thing if, okay, a person is separate and apart from the protest activities, or let's say the planned ambush or whatever, and they're like integral in planning the violent events. And you can think about some of the seditious conspiracy charges that were levied at, for example, Enrico Tarrio and other members there, where they're integral in some of the planning that's going on and where there's evidence of, that they're involved in the designs of the group there on January 6th. But here, this is defendant Sanchez, I believe, he wasn't even charged with providing material support to terrorists. He wasn't charged with attempted murder. He wasn't charged with setting off explosives. And so as to him, a 30-year prison sentence for essentially what amounts to obstruction of justice related offenses. For me, it kind of is just totally disproportionate to what he's alleged to be participating in. And it speaks to a broader deficiency, I think, in the narrative that the government is trying to push here. There were attempts to get other members of this group, this alleged Antifa cell, hit with the attempted murder charges because of something called Pinkerton liability. And this essentially says that if there is a conspiracy and other members of the conspiracy are doing substantive crimes that further the conspiracy and they're like reasonably foreseeable in light of the conspiracy, you can hit them not just with a conspiracy, but with like the substantive crimes that the other members of the conspiracy did. It's called Pinkerton liability.
That right there, that is what I was talking about. Pinkerton liability. See, I've been saying this. Anybody in my camp knows I've been saying this for the absolute longest, right? I feel like there's gonna be one day where they're gonna just literally have a Hebrew Israelite, so they're gonna prop somebody up to be a Hebrew Israelite, kind of like how Drewski did, right? But not comedically, to do something wild to try to make Hebrew Israelites look like, I guess you could say, terrorists. I wouldn't be surprised, right? And what makes me really think that now is this, because I didn't even know about this until he said this. I looked this up, Pinkerton liability. Look at this. Because he used a lot of big words and elegant speech when he tried to talk about it. When you look at this. It says Pinkerton liability rule established in Pinkerton versus United States, and it's referencing a court. So a court case. When a court case is resolved, it sets precedents. This is a precedent, the Pinkerton liability rule. Just like the court case that just resolved with this person getting 100 years, everybody getting 50 to 70, and this person getting 30. This is a a precedent moving forward. So look at this. Yeah, like an Israelite, like a brother said, an Israelite RICO. Look at this. It says there's a federal criminal doctrine stating that a person involved in a conspiracy can be held criminally liable for the substantive offenses committed by co-conspirators, even if they did not personally participate in or know about these specific crimes. So that's almost really what you could say is, say you have a friend, say you're really cool, that's your best friend. He talks about doing some law stuff. You're like, nah, man, don't do that, right? And he goes and does it anyway. They just come in, and they come not only to arrest you, but charge you for the same crimes of what he did. That is Pinkerton liability rule. That's why this is things we need to be watching out for, because you could eat everything and every move that, like, element that they got on them to convict them, you could easily place on Hebrew Israelites. Easily. They got quote unquote code names, right? You know, we changed our name to Hebrew names, even though we grew up being Gentiles all our life. We surnamed ourselves to Israel. We have med kits, right? We also have the pew pew, right? You know, I'm not trying to say the other one too much because, you know, YouTube reasons. We assemble with all these specific things. You could, and it's not just us. Various other Israelites do that in Texas. So you could apply the same thing with us. This is things we need to be cognizant of. I don't want to keep saying the word worry, because worry implies a negative fear. Like, I don't think we should fear. I feel like we should have faith, but be cognizant of the devil's devices, right? And by being cognizant of the devil's devices, we need to move a little bit differently, like in our chats, not be so wild and say so like flamboyantly awful things in our chats. I know how Hebrew Israelites get. You know, I was once exactly like that. We need to change the way we talk about certain things and the way we move. Don't give the devil any type of out or any type of leverage to take us out. Specifically, we just need to just move better, move smarter. That's why I wanted to highlight this. Let's continue with this stuff.
And here, right, multiple members of this quote alleged Antifa cell were charged with attempted murder, but the jury actually acquitted. They acquitted everybody except for defendant Song on attempted murder, and only as to one person. And so that means that the jury likely did not find it compelling that there was an attempt here from the broader conspiracy.
Yeah, see, they were trying to give all of them 100 years. They acquitted, like, everybody except the one who shot the gun. They acquitted everybody of the attempted murder, because, like, how can you even justify that? Like, how can you even justify that? That's what Pinkerton liability is. They're trying to, the same crime that they were charging that man for letting the pew pew ring off. that same attempted murder charge, they were trying to give that up to them, and they just dismissed that. But they found another way to charge them for something else. That's Texas for you. If you ever heard about the Texas justice system, that's Texas for you.
To actually hurt or kill members of law enforcement, because of course, if they did, why wouldn't that be reasonably foreseeable for purposes of Pinkerton liability? And so all of that, and again, the charges on this man, defendant Sanchez, who wasn't there and wasn't involved in any planning, I think speaks to the the lack of plausibility in some of the more nefarious strains that are being alleged by the Department of Justice.
And so what's next here for these defendants? Like, are there constitutional arguments that can be made on appeal? Are they going to be made? Are they free on bond now? Are they currently locked up? Like, what's the status?
Yeah, so there are a ton of legal issues that were presented and rejected by the trial judge. I'll let you know that the trial judge was a George Bush appointee, and I believe the sentencing either was helped with a Trump appointee. So they're Republican judges sort of in charge of Republican appointed judges in charge of some of the proceedings here. But these issues range from issues regarding search and seizure that might be sort of tossed up for appeal, issues related to the sufficiency of the evidence for some of these charges. I mean, there are deep factual disputes about whether or not you can charge any of these defendants, for example, with rioting using the federal statute there, because there doesn't appear to be any use of the federal instrumentality of interstate commerce or any sort of crossing of state lines that would invoke the federal statute, since all that was sort of planned about or talked through these channels was not like riotous activity. So that's sort of going to be up for appeal. The sufficiency of the evidence regarding the material support. So there's a lot of questions that are left for appeal and meaty issues that the courts of appeals are going to have to deal with. The thing is, though, they're in the Fifth Circuit, which is traditionally very conservative, very Republican,
and that's the problem. Why is it
leaning? And additionally, the trial judges are going to have to deal with. The thing is, though, they're in the Fifth Circuit, which is traditionally very conservative, very Republican leaning. And additionally, the trial judges are given a lot of deference on like evidentiary issues.
Yeah, so the judges that are Republican leaning, the people who these guys are avidly against, they're given a lot of deference. Like, they have a lot of authority over the case. So you think they're gonna like, no, we're not gonna let you appeal that. No, we're not gonna reduce your court case. That's a non-starter, man. That's a no-go. It's a bad time, right? That's what that looks like.
And they're given a lot of deference also on some of these rulings. And so plenty of issues to work with. And of course, these are federal convictions. And so presumably, if the next president thought that these were too harsh sentences, I mean, there is recent precedent for pardons and commutations of people involved with conspiracies to overturn an election in the case of January 6th. So those are kind of issues that are still available and remedies available to the defendants.
And Pisco, finally, how does NSPM 7 play into this, and what are the broader implications here in terms of trying to, scare other activists and protesters out of participating in any sort?
Yeah, that's the point I wanted to make too. They did this to make an example out of somebody and people just in general. That if you protest this government, protest this ideology, protest MAGA, because MAGA really is just a nice way of saying white supremacy. When you protest white supremacy, this is what's going to happen to you. You're going to go to jail for 100 years. That's what white supremacy is. And what also is white supremacy? The image of the beast. Let's talk about that. Because I think
sort of dissent against this.
And to sort of increase the amount of surveillance over these kinds of groups, especially in the aftermath of the killing of Charlie Kirk. And so it's relevant because
let's continue. I'll talk about that.
Of terrorism, and to basically go after things that maybe traditionally Americans wouldn't consider terrorism, and to sort of increase the amount of surveillance over these kinds of groups, especially in the aftermath of the killing of Charlie Kirk. And so it's relevant because these, I believe, are the first convictions of terrorism-related charges for anyone involved with Antifa. And so the administration is bandying around as a win, especially with the super harsh sentences. And so I think this will encourage the administration to try these different theories. One of the big complaints of the defendants in these cases is that they relied a lot on this kind of like innuendo and the association, and they shouldn't have brought up the fact that they were related to Antifa or that they lingered too long on it. And so the fear perhaps from people who are against the administration is that this would encourage them to continue down this road of the memorandum and identify members who are allegedly part of these left-wing groups and to ascribe to them criminal culpability using doctrines like Pinkerton liability or some of these also like conspiracy against rights cases that have been sort of levied by the administration. But it is a big sort of win in a series of allegedly political prosecutions where sometimes they've had some failures recently.
Wow. Unbelievable. Pisco, thank you so much for your analysis.
Yeah, so Trump and his administration are applauding this because they've done his bidding. Anybody coming up against white supremacy, which is MAGA, they're really the same thing, exactly the same. As much as they want to do, they want to hide under, oh, we're making America great again. It's really ultimately white supremacy. They're doing this to make an example out of people that you will not come up against this image. You will not come up against what we stand on and what's going on here in Texas, right? Let me go into this real quick. This Revelation 13. This is what I mean about that. This is what I've been talking about when it comes to the image. So I'm gonna start at 11, so we know exactly what's going on. In verse 1, it talks about a beast whose deadly wound was healed. Now in verse 11, it's talking about another beast. We hold to the standpoint that this other beast is America. So let's just go to this, and when we get to the image part, and then we're gonna harp on that image, that point or that image, right? So it said, I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. He exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Right. So this other beast coming out of the earth, right, having 2 horns like a lamb, just because this is making reference to the governments of this beast. Those 2 horns, like the House and the Senate, right, Republican, Democrat. It's always 2-pronged when it comes to American or even Roman senates. The same way America has a 2-pronged system is the same way that Rome had a 2-pronged system. That's why when he used that same power as Rome did, they caused everybody to worship this beast. Worship is proskuneo, giving somebody reverence. Every time when people go to the voting booth, become part of the electorate or vote, right? When you vote, participate in democracy, participate in all the ideologies that stem from Rome, you're worshiping Rome. You're bending the knee to Rome and to their ideologies. That's what that comes from. That's what it means to worship that first beast whose deadly wound was healed. That deadly wound is going into the Renaissance era when Rome came back into power, like as far as strength goes. Verse 13, and he doeth great wonders. Let me zoom in so everybody can see that. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. Who's the only people to ever use nuclear devices? America, right? And Trump's been flirting with doing it again, so I wouldn't be surprised if he did it again, right? So is the small hats, and I actually have evidence of that, which we're going to watch a little bit later. So verse 14, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that which dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by the sword and did live, right? So this spawned white supremacy. When America became that great superpower, that's when this white supremacy got put on a pedestal before the world would see. Verse 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, and the image of the beast should both speak. That's going into the doctrines, the belief systems, the orders, sanctions, all of that, right? Not the image, not the mark. You know, some people say the mark of the beast is sanctions. You're stupid. Like I'm just in 2026. I'm really not trying to be rude. But if you're saying the mark of the beast, Karagma, is sanctions, you're stupid. That's just it. Just is what it is, right? It says he had power to give life to the image of the beast, and the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So when you come against this image, you come against this belief system, and right, and this, I keep saying belief system. They're like, oh, Yadi, where are you getting that from? When you look at the Greek right here, which I say all the time, icon. When you look in the Greek right here, it's going into the moral likeness of things. Like you have literal likeness of things, physical things, but then you also have a moral likeness, right? Let me see, image of one. Right, let's say, yeah, like It's used right here when it says use the moral likeness of renewed men to God. That's Romans 8, where people conform to the image of the Son. That's where they're getting this usage from. But this word is also used for the image of the beast. What's the image of the beast? The moral likeness of this beast. What's the moral likeness of this beast? MAGA. So it's going to come to a point where, like, they talk about this word fascism. It comes to a point where that you're going to see that biblically. Like when you read this in the Bible, you're going to start seeing things like this. And this is precursors to that. That court case is literally a precursor to that. Because let's see something else. When you go to Second Ezra, this Second Ezra is what chapter? 16. This is near the end of the book. Second Ezra 16 verses. Let's start at 71. It says, for in many places and in the neighboring cities, there shall be a great uprising against those who fear the Lord. Just like how we see all these court cases in the judicial systems and honestly the government against people who believe contrary to it, right? Israelites believe contrary to it. Not just us, but the people who are on the far left, or really just left leaning at all, right? So, where is this? Okay. 72. They shall be like maniacs, sparing no one, but plundering and destroying those who continue to fear the Lord. They shall destroy and plunder their goods and drive them out of their house and home. Then the tested quality of my elect shall be manifest, like gold that is tested by the fire. That's when people will know who the elect is, when they're doing things like that. Like you see Paul talk about you can't do nothing against the truth, but only for it. These people think they're going to come against any type of movement, belief system, and things like that. But with us, when it comes to us, you're really proving our point when you try to oppress us. And this is what the prophet said would happen. They're oppressing them because they believed in God. Believing, honestly, truly believing in God and believing in the Bible means you're contrary to the government of America and the way it's ran. Literally, there's no way to merge the two. Even when you see a whole bunch of these. I should have pulled this up. A lot of these people who say, well, Christianity was merged in, or Christianity and righteousness was merged in with the belief system of the forefathers of America. But all of them didn't believe in God, hated Christianity, the Bible, and were avidly against it. I should have pulled that up. They literally say that. They literally think that God is disgusting. That's how these people operate, and you can see that through their works. But when these things start happening, we're gonna know that God is real in that day, and that's when you're gonna see who the real people of God are. Because what's going to happen is you're either gonna renounce it, or you're either gonna renounce it, or you're gonna just be down for your ground. It is what it is. But look what verse 75 says. It's listen, my elect ones, says the Lord. You know, it says my elect ones, not the heathen. The heathen are not the elect. It says, listen, my elect ones, says the Lord. The days of tribulation are at hand, but I will deliver you from them. Right? And when this starts happening, we will have, according to God, we will be delivered from them if you stay down for the crown. But some people will have to perish because of it. You see that in Revelation, the 20th chapter. But in total, like as in a generality, according to what the prophet says, we can be delivered from those specific things. This is why you have to be locked in with your faith. Because looking at, like I said at the very beginning, we started watching these clips, is like, if I didn't have the faith that I had, that would shake me. Like even just being someone who disagreed with the government a little bit, that would shake you a little bit. But seeing things like this, oh, okay, this is gonna happen. Oh, eventually they're going to go full fascism. That's what the Bible teaches. So that's something we need to be prepared for and do our best to try to avoid dealing with, right? To the best. I mean, most of us probably won't be able to, but you know, somebody might take this and do a little bit better, right? But that's when we get to that's as far as the Pinkerton liability thing. Let's talk about something a little bit less serious. So San Antonio, man, you know, y'all, it's like San Antonio. I have such a love-hate relationship with that city, right? I love going there. I love holding camp there. I love Fiesta, going there and hold the camp there in Fiesta, which we're gonna be at again. It's a yearly thing, right? You know that just like how they added specific feasts that weren't really like prophesied by God. They do every day, every year, like Purim and things like that. That's our Purim. We're gonna go out there and do that, right? I love that place, but they always do something specifically to make me not like that motherfucker, bro. Every time, like it's just every time. And this is one of those instances. Like y'all will elect somebody who looks like y'all, like Hispanic people. Like y'all, it's mostly Hispanic people. Like there's Hispanic and Black people. Y'all will elect somebody and then allow them to be controlled by AIPAC. That's every single time. Y'all will always get treated like cattle by AIPAC. And the today's example of that is what's going on with Kanye West. So he's set to have a concert this weekend for July 4th at the Alamo Dome, and the governor, the mayor, the governor's probably against it too, because who is it? No, it's Hot Wheels. Yeah, Hot Wheels is probably against. Greg Abbott, he's probably against it too. But the mayor, the mayor of San Antonio, is going on a crusade to try to get people to cancel and try to get this concert canceled because of his quote unquote anti-Semitic remarks, man. Quote unquote. Even though he's apologized for it, even though he's tried to offer repentance for it, AIPAC and their affiliates has to come against him. So let's watch this. And this is going to be funny too. There's a little bit of lightheartedness in this too.
Calls to cancel Kanye West's, who now goes by Ye, planned concert on July 4th at the Alamo Dome are growing louder.
He goes by Ye. It's Ye. It's Ye, bro. Christ Jesus.
Calls to cancel Kanye West's, who now goes by Ye, planned concert on July 4th at the Alamo Dome are growing louder tonight. This comes after Mayor Gina Ortiz-Jones made an appeal on social media to cancel the show. City leaders are concerned about the artist's history of anti-Semitic remarks and believe Military City should not host the artist in a city-funded facility.
Despite the backlash, city leaders...
But I mean, like, what is it? What are you concerned about? Are you concerned that people are going to go and listen to his music? Is that what you're concerned about? That's concerning to you? It almost sounds racist.
Say they cannot pull the plug on Ye's 4th of July concert without risking a First Amendment violation.
Yeah, that. I didn't mean to interrupt to interrupt that whole thought, but it said they're risking a First Amendment violation because it is a First Amendment violation. You want to deplatform him for using the First Amendment. All these people who swear they're America first, who swear they're MAGA, are the most America last people we've ever seen. It's Israel first. It's always been Israel first. Oh my God, bro. Look at it. I want to let them say this, and I want to get this about freedom of speech.
In a city-funded facility.
Despite the backlash, city leaders say they cannot pull the plug on Ye's 4th of July concert without risking a First Amendment violation.
And I think there is.
Yeah, you're risking a First Amendment violation because look at this. This is UnitedStatesCourts.gov. Look at this. What freedom of speech is. It says freedom of speech includes the right not to speak, specifically the right not to salute the flag, even though, white people look at you a certain type of way when you don't salute the flag, but that's freedom of speech. That's neither here nor there. It says of students to wear black armbands to school to protest the war, right? Students do not shed their constitutional rights at the schoolhouse gate. That comes off of a court case. It says to use certain offensive words and phrases to convey political messages. Just like what Kanye did. Just like what Ye did. That literally is freedom of speech. And you wanted to deplatform from using freedom of speech, you are anti-American. This is why, and I have my belief system when it comes to being Israelite, being a Bible believer. Like Deuteronomy 17, we don't put kings who are not our own people over us, right? Especially women. Right, not to diminish women's role. They have their role, men have their role, gender roles. Everybody has their own specific thing they do. That's why I don't participate in democracy. But the people who do participate in democracy, y'all put these people up here who are anti-American. You're America last, you're Israel first. That's all this is. This is not what he did. I mean, that's not what he did. You're trying to deplatform him for using this specific right that he has. Look at this. To contribute money under certain circumstances or to political campaigns, to advertise commercial products and professional professional services, right? A professional service is him having a show, right? also commercial products. His songs are itemized commercial products. If you don't like the contents of his songs, too damn bad. This is America. This is America, right? You know, this is America. It says to engage in symbolic speech. If y'all get mad at his tweets, that's covered under freedom of speech. It was created so that we can, freedom of speech was created so we can criticize the government, literally. Stop saying you're America first. Stop getting in front of a camera saying you're America first, you're America last. Christ, Jesus, you guys are like, I listen to the news all day, so I'm pretty astute with politics and listen to what people say, whether it be Democratic, Republican, Independent, various different things. And people who critique these different people, they always want to say they're America first. You're not. If you get upset with people for using freedom of speech, you are anti-American. When a white person wants to tell you, if you don't like it here, go back to Africa, that is anti-American. And you know who those same people vote for? Trump. You know what that means? They're MAGA. And you know what all of that correlates to? MAGA is white supremacy. You see how that works? But let's continue with this.
Is an effort. I think there is value.
That right there is the mayor, and I want to show y'all something. There's gonna be something real funny about that a little bit.
Yeah, what a stronger community.
Not pull the plug on Ye's 4th of July concert without risking a First Amendment violation.
And I think there is an effort. I think there is value in looking at what a stronger communications piece looks at in the context of public safety.
Mayor Gina Ortiz Jones, Jewish organizations across San Antonio, and now city council members are speaking out against the performance of Ye, formerly known as Kanye West.
Yeah, so what's happening is the Jewish leaders, I guess in San Antonio, I think it's the Holocaust Museum. We got one of those out here in Dallas too. Like right when you get to downtown, the first thing you do when you get to downtown, you got to see the Dallas Holocaust Museum. No matter what big city is here, it's always that. It's always there. You know, the big how would I say it? The big Boohoo Museum, right? Too damn bad. The wrong kid died. But if y'all see that movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. What was I gonna say? So they put a battery in her back to come against Kanye. That's where this comes from. So I misspoke when I said I misspoke. What was that on Friday when I talked about she received AIPAC money? She received money from PAC, but it wasn't specifically from Jewish people. But she does rub shoulders with the Jewish lobby. She does. So they put that battery in her back to come up against Kanye West for just performing. How is you performing songs? Because you know rap concert, they just play the MP3 file of their song and then just rap over that. What is concerning? What's gonna happen to the small hats because that happening? I don't know. I just don't know what is concerning about that. These individuals, bro. These individuals.
It's definitely a major concern for me that we have partnered with someone that's had so much of a pattern of hate speech and anti-Semitism.
Ye has repeatedly faced backlash for praising Adolf Hitler, making anti-Semitic
I don't know what you're talking
social
about, brother. I haven't
media
taken
and
any
interviews. He posted statements in February of 2025 saying, "I'm a Nazi and some of my best friends are Jewish, and I don't."
He says, I can't say that YouTube. He says he's one of them red armband wearers, and some of his best friends are small hats, and he don't trust any of them. Look, I wouldn't either, but that's freedom of speech. That's freedom of speech. In its rawest sense, that's literally freedom of speech. But you want to take that away? Okay.
Don't trust any of them. District 9 Councilwoman Misty Spears says their options may be limited on what they can do, but wants to take a closer look at how future events are booked.
I'm here in Israel right now, and I just am shocked that we're in this situation, quite frankly. And I think I'm going to be very intentional in working with our recruiters on who we partner with in the future.
Tickets remain on sale for the event at the Alamo Dome. The venue can accommodate more than 70,000 fans, and organizers reported overwhelming demand when tickets were first released. Not everyone agrees on whether the concert should be canceled.
If people want to,
y'all are the only ones who have a problem with it. that one lady, that one congresswoman, and that one, and the mayor of San Antonio, y'all are the only two people who have a problem with it. You know why? This is the news, and it's the news letting people know how they feel about it, and this is the people. There's the news letting people, like regular San Antonians, how the congresswoman and the mayor feels about it, and ask them how they feel about what they said. Well, watch this.
Go see it, they'll see it. If they don't want to see it, they won't show up. So
that's all it is. If people don't want to see it, they're not going to show up. But last time I checked, he's moving seats. He's putting asses in chairs. What are you concerned about?
Why make it maybe a political thing or getting the mayor involved? I don't think it's necessary.
Look into more of their background and more with their influencing and what they're about to expose, and come to the city.
Ye has attempted to address the controversy before. He addressed a public apology in the Wall Street Journal for previous anti-Semitic comments, saying he regretted his actions and had lost touch with reality.
So what do you want from him? What do you want from him? What do you want? And I don't support this, but he gave a written apology to this community for what he said, and then continue to expound upon that same written apology. The best we get when y'all call us the N-word is, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that." That's all we get. And we just move on past it. You know, when that YouTuber PewDiePie said the N-word, you know what happened? He continued to have a YouTube channel and continued to have millions of views. When who was that UFC fighter who just got arrested? What's his name? He's one of my favorite UFC fighters too. Now he's not. Dustin Poirier. When he got arrested on Father's Day and he was trying to square up with the officer and call them the N-word, nobody was worried about him saying the N-word. He said, "Oh, he just needs some help." Everybody gets excused for saying the N-word, but you say some stuff that Kanye did. Give a written apology. Expound upon your apology. We're not accepting the apology. I wonder why that is. I wonder why that is.
Now, we reached out to Ye's representatives and we have not yet heard back. But as for the city, they say they will be far more selective of future performers. Reporting outside the Alamo Dome, I'm Taylor Whartonby.
We want to know what you think. Right now on our website, we're asking, do you think...
Look at this. I wanted to play this up until this point right here. Look at this. So they gave the people in San Antonio, they gave a poll where you get on here. It says, do you think that the planned Kanye West concert at the Alamo Dome should be canceled? 36% said yes, and that's crazy to me. That's a lot of people. But double the amount of people said no. They don't give it's 6, you know, screw it. They don't give a fuck about what you're talking about. Let's be honest, bro. San Antonio, just like San Antonio can't afford to be selected by future performances. Yeah, because people like I don't really hear about notable people going there. To be honest, y'all should be happy he's bringing revenue to your city. I've seen how y'all treated red line districts. What I mean by red line districts, areas where y'all put blacks and Hispanics in. I've seen it. This brother actually told. I remember when we got an Airbnb out there, and what ended up happening? He said, "Oh, you over there? Oh, they got a gang. They got a gang war over there, right?" And then I looked around. Then when I got back to the BB, I said, "Oh, the Lord in Christ, it is kind of rough out of here." Y'all should be happy. Y'all getting revenue, but this continues. Right. This I'll say this is a more lighthearted one. I want y'all to see this. This is gonna be great. We're coming right back to this. Watch this.
Planned Kanye West concert.
So this is another clip. So this is I couldn't find where this specific video is, so I had to find somebody reacting to it. But he didn't say anything. He's just gonna be there. So this is the moment where the Jewish leaders are putting a battery in the back of the mayor to do this. Watch what the name of this lady is who's over this foundation. Watch what her name is. You can't make this shit up.
Of hate speech and anti-Semitic rhetoric. I don't.
The youth in San Antonio. Welcome, everyone, to the Holocaust Memorial Museum of San Antonio. My name is Lisa Epstein. I'm the director.
What? What is your name? Oh, Spruce Street. There it is. That's where we stayed at, Spruce Street. Yeah, it's rough over there. But did you hear what her name was? Did y'all hear what her name was? I'm gonna play it again. You can't make this shit up, bro. Look at this. I want y'all to hear it. Listen to what her name is.
Welcome, everyone, to the Holocaust Memorial Museum of San Antonio. My name is Lisa Epstein. I'm the director of Jewish.
She tried to say it in a different way. Her name is Lisa Epstein. You can't make this up, bro. You can't make this up. Y'all couldn't find no Finkelstein or somebody else to say something. Go there, introduce this, bro. You can't make this up, bro. Oh my god. So let me skip to the part with the mayor. So they get basically right here. They're getting this. Basically, the Jewish leaders trying to say we're not gonna accept these. We're not gonna accept Kanye. We don't accept his apology. But now they're gonna get the woman where she is. Let's see what the mayor got to say.
Well, good afternoon. Thanks everybody for taking the time to be here. And unfortunately, we're here under these circumstances. I am here squarely as the chief elected officer of this city, and the need to be good stewards of the people's resources, which is why I spoke out as strongly as I did, and frankly, as soon as I knew that the Ye concert was scheduled. Again, if this was happening at SeaWorld, if this was happening at Fiesta, Texas, I would not have weighed in the way that
you would have had the same problem with it because of the people who you rub shoulders with.
I did. But when we are thinking and using the people's resources, I think it's extremely important that we are much more thoughtful about the message that we send when we invest their time, their energy, their resources into providing somebody a platform who has years worth of hate speech and anti-Semitic rhetoric. Okay. As an Air Force and as an Iraq War veteran, I understand the importance of the First Amendment. Of course, I went to war to defend them.
Well, I mean, you went to war to defend the First Amendment. I mean, I can't tell you're trying to get rid of it. You're trying to use your political prowess to get rid of it, but you don't got that much equity, man. You don't got the equity for it. You don't got the political prowess. You don't got the people behind you. Like this right here, bro. I ain't gonna hold you. If I live in San Antonio, we're opening some kind of campaign against this woman. What they say? What they be saying in politics? You're gonna get primaried out of there. That's what we need to do. Hell no.
And that's not how I see this. I think there's a difference between the First Amendment and then providing a platform, a city-funded, taxpayer-funded platform to somebody whose comments have been as reprehensible as this individual's. I push back on the assertion that this concert should be viewed in the same way as Disney on Ice or big trucks. Those are different things. As Councilman Mickey Rodriguez said, not all money is good money.
But y'all don't have any money. You don't have no money. The only time your niggas got money is during Fiesta. That's it. I seen y'all streets. They look like ours. They look like our streets. They look like 635. They look like I-20. They look like 360. I've seen y'all streets. Don't tell me you got money. Don't tell me all money is not good money. I mean, no, I'm not gonna put that charge. I'll let you make it.
And I think what this process, or lack thereof, has shown is the city really needs to be thoughtful about how we view these types of activities, especially when they're utilizing city resources. So I think it's clear among my colleagues that we need a much more defined process that reflects our values as a community. And I know that we will arrive at that. I understand many of my colleagues feel differently about this. Many have.
Many of your colleagues don't give a flying fuck about what you're talking about, man. You know that, like, many of them are happy if somebody's coming to your city, right? You know, because I forgot what they said. It's a party inside my city. It's a parade inside my city. It's not too many of them going on in San Antonio, so they're happy. They're happy one is coming to them, right? That's why they feel differently. Yeah. That's why they feel differently. That's why they don't care. And you're going to see how much they don't care when she finishes her speech.
Cited, the quote.
It's very short, actually.
Potential economic impact. Many have, frankly, it's largely been that. Frankly, even the members that signed the 2 letters that were just read off, at this point, the only way to cancel this concert is to have a public vote. And we don't have the votes.
Don't have the votes.
We don't have the votes.
Look at that smile, because you know you feel shit. The only way to get a council is to ask the San Antonians, do you guys want to have it or not? And we don't have the votes. Yeah, because nobody give a fuck. They want to see something. They don't have anything. They don't give a fuck. The only people who care is the people who put that battery on your back to get up here and make this stupid ass speech you making right now. Nobody give a fuck, bro. I'm sorry. Oh my days, bro. Like this, nobody cares. Nobody cares, bro. We don't care if y'all are upset that he said something years ago that he apologized for. You know how easy it would be to go back and look at everybody's history to go find something that they wish they didn't say it on the internet. Like, you know how easy it would be to do that? Could you imagine? Like, I saw this one video where they were talking about, yeah, you got the job, like you do a job interview. You got the job, but we're gonna go look back at your Xbox live messages and voice chats, right? If they did that, I wouldn't have a job, and many other people, especially white supremacists. So this is crazy. Nobody cares that y'all are. Our feelings are hurt, man. Why we gonna, like, you talking about our feelings? Our feelings are hurt. Well, black people feelings been hurt for a long period of time, bro, and Hispanics. Y'all done got ICE up here. They beating the hell out of Hispanics. Y'all get to say the N-word on TV, and it's perfectly fine. You don't get deplatformed. You get you can do anything except insult these specific people, and you can keep your platform whatsoever, right? You do anything as long as you don't say anything to them, you can keep your platform. But when it comes to them, and when it comes to the people are part of the ABC community, right? If you say anything bad about them, now you got to get deplatformed. That's what hurts us. That y'all, because the reason why they don't allow people to say anything to and about the small hats or the ABC community is because y'all assign value to them. The reason why y'all get to say anything and everything about us is because y'all don't assign any value to us. And anybody who actually pays attention and who's cognizant of that it's like that should anger you. It's like I said, the pressure makes a wise man mad. It should irritate you that they don't assign any value to your opinion or to your being is on this planet. So with us seeing that, and black people and Hispanic people are starting to wake up to that and realize voting and democracy isn't going to help us. But as we're doing that, we're saying this to you: boo fucking who? Boo, right? Why everybody mocking my people getting deported? They said my uncle got his door kicked in by ICE on Friday. And brother, that's what they do. I'm not really mocking. I didn't mock that. I say that's an issue. Matter of fact, I be the main. I'm one of the main people who, when they go to camp, make every opportunity to talk to the Northern Kingdom, the Northern tribes, right? When I grew up in my hometown in Central Texas, I grew up literally only around Hispanic people. That's all I've known. Like I didn't really start being around a whole bunch of black people until I moved up here to DFW. Right. But that's just, it is what it is on that. But just boo. We don't have the votes. We don't have the votes to stop the concert. So what is this? What are you doing? Why are you wasting everybody's time?
At this point, the only way to cancel this concert is to have a public vote. And we don't have the votes.
Don't have the
We
votes.
don't have the votes. Some folks have prioritized, again, economic
A lot of people bought the tickets. I read 50,000 tickets sold.
interest over what they say are their values. And that's just the moment in time that we're in, and it's really sad.
So they said it said 50,000 people bought the tickets. Let me pull out the calculator on that. So they hold 70,000. Let me see. 50. Matter of fact, 50. No, I ain't even gonna do all that. I can do it this way. 70. That's 71%. It's a 71% capacity at the time of this video. At the time of him saying that this video. People don't care what y'all talk about. People don't care what y'all talk about.
Because when you come to things like the Holocaust Memorial here in San Antonio or the one in DC, or frankly, I've visited, unfortunately, some of the concentration camps in Germany, you always get there and you look around and you read and you're just like, how did this happen? How did it get to this point? Weren't there things along the way that would have prevented something like this? And that's when you're reminded about the silence that enabled those things, or the explaining away. Oh, it's gonna be good it's gonna be good for small business. What's gonna be good for small business? So I think this has been an important lesson for our community. Again, I know our city administrators are going to come up with a process that ensures that we are doing these
what's happening right here, and she paused because she know what she's saying is high level BS. So she's saying she went to Germany and saw where they used to have the concentration camps and was like, well, how did we get here? How did they get to this? Oh, it's because of the silence. They just started allowing things to happen. So you're saying, so what she's literally saying is it starts by letting somebody like Kanye West have a concert in a city, and the next thing you know, we're gonna have concentration camps. Imagine that. Like that's where we at right now, bro. That's where we at right now, and she's doing it for a reason. I'm gonna tell you that reason why she's doing it. That's pretty much it on that. I'm gonna tell you why she's doing it. It's for this right here. There's a video, like I watch Young Turks too. If y'all want to see something they're fully left leaning. Like there is no conservative ideologies on this at all whatsoever. So this is Israel ready to launch a nuke, right? That's what I was talking about earlier about Israel with nukes, right? Watch this.
And this would be way more difficult than simply decoupling from Israel, which to me is the most important thing for the United States to do, decouple. Mm-hmm. But what I actually think is even more important is finding a way to denuclearize Israel, because Israel keeps talking about how they're going to nuke people. If you don't believe me, there are more examples. In fact, Mossad loves to issue threats. He did so back in October of 2024 when he was on a panel with Cenk Uygur for Piers Morgan Uncensored. If you remember what I'm talking about, you know exactly what it is. But if you never caught this video, this is what I'm talking about.
The Iranian nuclear program is going to be destroyed. And anyone who gets in the way, it doesn't matter where they are, even if they are politicians in the West, they are going to fall because we cannot afford. Cenk, you are going to be defeated. You are already defeated.
That guy just looks evil. That guy just looks evil as hell. Look at the way his eyes is, bro. I ain't never seen nobody. You're going to be defeated. They're going to want to call Iran terrorists. Look at the way this man look at the way he talks. You're going to be defeated.
In the West, they are going to fall because We cannot afford someone who gets
exactly what it is. But if you never caught this video, this is what I'm talking about.
The Iranian nuclear program is going to be destroyed. And anyone who gets in the way, it doesn't matter where they are, even if they are politicians in the West, they are going to fall because we cannot afford. Chang, you are going to be defeated. You are already defeated.
Okay, Chang, final word to you.
Hold on, did you hear what he just said? He threatened politicians in the West that if they don't agree with Israel's war against Iran, that they're going to fall. And remember, he's an Israeli agent. Are you saying Israel will murder politicians in the West or get rid of them politically?
Yeah, that's what they do. If you disagree with the small hats, the people who hold the shekels, who hold all the shekels, right? If you disagree with them, they're going to deplatform you from your political position. That's what this guy, he's an agent of Israel. He's not in America. He's an agent of Israel. That's what he's saying about the people in the West.
Through bribery or whatever else? What do you mean the politicians in the West will fall if they don't agree to back Israel's war against Iran?
Yeah, we will not vote for them anymore.
Oh, no, well, you don't vote for them now. You're not in our country. What do you mean the politicians will fall?
We live in democracy, and we have the right to bring them up and to bring them down. Those who agree with Ayatollah, we don't want them in office. And all the sympathizers with terrorists like yourself, we don't want them even to be in our country.
Who is we, and how are you bringing down politicians in the West if they dare to defy Israel? Tell me how you're bringing them down.
I already answered you that.
Are you going to murder them or are you going to bribe them?
Yeah, he never.
Yeah, that's a question you have to answer because it's like y'all don't have he said too much. You literally don't have the physical numbers to sway vote. Just like how black people don't have the physical numbers to really sway votes if we wanted to. We all chose to vote one day in one direction. We don't have the ability to sway a vote. There's always white people will always be the majority here, right? So, what he's saying, how are you doing that? You have to be doing that certain time, some kind of way, and you represent Israel. That's why, and all these people. That's why they just take AIPAC money. You're gonna be controlled. You're gonna be controlled by them regardless. So you might as well just take AIPAC money. That's why they do that. So when she got up there and made a fool of that San Antonio mayor, when she got up there and made a fool of herself by making that dumbass speech, that's why she did it. That's what happens. You get your humiliation ritual. That's what it, you know. That's not going. Y'all gonna take that money. You're gonna invest it in probably not fixing them streets. Probably not. San Antonio gonna look exactly the same, and then you're gonna move on about your business. Y'all collect the check. I don't know why we're doing all the shenanigans. Why? Because you're backed by Israel, right? So let's go into it. There's more things. But let me just clear it off on this. Actually,
asserted the Alamo Dome should be canceled. So far, 64% of you say no, it should not be. If you want to weigh in, just scan the QR at this point.
Yes. So look, I think there's a difference between freedom of speech and giving somebody a platform in a city-funded facility, a platform for somebody who has a record of years of anti-Semitic comments, right? And so that to me is the difference. I mean, if he was performing at SeaWorld or Fiesta Texas, those are private entities, and knock yourself out. But when you're using city tax dollars, city taxpayer funds, that's when I think we really need to kind of look at this and make sure and see if that's the inappropriate use. And I don't think it is. I think it's also really important that we look at the moment in time that we're in. I've talked with Jewish community leaders over the last couple of days about this, and I've heard from national Jewish leaders on this as well. And
AIPAC.
Let's not forget that we are in a moment in time where we're seeing some of the highest rates of anti-Semitic rhetoric and attacks in our.
Well, maybe if you stop blowing up Palestinians, you wouldn't have this issue. You're talking about with so many heights of anti-Semitic thing. Maybe if you stop just seizing people's land, blowing up reporters. They're literally blowing up reporters. Like I've seen it on camera. They have a reporter reporting out there in Lebanon, and you see a missile come up. He sees the missile and runs and slightly near misses the missile. slightly dodges the missile. Like, I've seen it. Maybe if y'all stop doing that and then putting it on the news, maybe people would calm down. But if you guys keep giving up the game and then throwing up and then just being out in the open with your shenanigans and having your Epstein puppet Trump, maybe, just maybe people would just forget about the things that y'all do. Maybe, just maybe.
Country. I think that's important. I think when we're also looking at just history in general, moments.
Oh, real quick. And where are you Christians? I just thought about this. We Christian apologists will make a video about Hebrew Israelites all day. We're so wicked. We do this. Why are y'all not talking about these people? Why we don't hear nothing about y'all? Why is it's like just use Jim Green example? Why you got one video just said, well, we don't know if you guys did Israelites. That's all we get, but they don't talk about nothing that's going on over there. Y'all don't ever say nothing. Y'all make a video every single day about us, but don't say nothing about them. They stop being on the news. We just be on YouTube. Maybe if y'all actually taught y'all people the Bible, they'd have ability to combat us. But it's not our fault they come up to us and get confounded. It's not our fault. That's your fault, literally. Literally. But why don't y'all say nothing about them? Oh, I know. It's because you're in agreements with it. You have to be. Like Amos, I think it's Amos 3 talks about, can two walk together unless they be agreed? They head in the same location. If you were in disagreement about where we need to go, where we're going, you would depart, but y'all don't depart. That's y'all like this would be killing me, bro. It'd be killing me.
In time where people were silent, it's really those moments that really enabled some of the worst things that we've seen. So my entire career has been in national security. I've served in countries where some of the conditions that they're dealing with are because of silence and the willingness to kind of normalize these things. And so when we're talking about an artist who has a song called Heil Hitler, he has sold merch that had a swastika on it. And I'm not willing to excuse those things away as just some mental health challenge that he was dealing with.
Well, we can't have mental health challenges. Why when Caucasian people go inside these schools and do madness to children, whether it be violence or the other kind, when they do those specific things, why do they get to have mental health issues and episodes and lapses and that just be that? But with us, we're not going to excuse away him having mental health. Why not? If anybody should have mental health issues, it should be us. Look at from the 1400s all the way to 2026. I'm not gonna accept his apology. Fuck you.
He has sold merch that had a swastika on it. And I'm not willing to excuse those things away as just some mental health challenge that he was dealing with. Because that was, again, it's not like one tweet in the middle of a night, right? It was years of activity. And I think we have an opportunity in this moment in time to talk about and demonstrate the kind of city that we are. And I don't think giving somebody a platform who has years of hate speech and anti-Semitic rhetoric, I don't think that's where we want to be as a city.
Well, I find that very
calls to cancel Kanye West.
I find that very funny when y'all allow police presence to be there for the Ku Klux Klan, and when other quote unquote by the Southern Poverty Law Center, when they have people on that list, where they have demonstrations in San Antonio, y'all have police presence there to watch over them. These people actually incite violence. And that's one thing I have a little bit of pride for in Dallas, when that one white supremacist came to the Carmelo Anthony trial, and he was pushing his white supremacy, and they banned him from Texas, and they arrested this man and revoked his bond. I'm happy we do things like that. I'm happy we at least have that to bank on. But you said, I don't want to accept this man's apology for he doesn't have mental health. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Oh my days, man. Let's continue. We got that last topic. We got to get to. And this is one that I personally despise. Like, I have children who go to public school. And when I went there, they have this in there. And I do not like it. So Texas passed the historic a historic bill or law. I forgot which one it is. I lose, like, I'd be forgetting one of them, right? Pass something basically made it to where they're going to have the Bible be a part of their curriculum. I hate every second of that, for reasons I'm going to talk about after we watch this clip.
A debate over Texas classrooms played out inside the state capitol Monday.
It is also an inherently divisive act.
The State Board of Education heard hours of testimony ahead of two major votes this week. One would rewrite social studies lessons. The other would approve a state reading list that includes Christian Bible stories for public school students. Supporters say the changes provide important historical.
Look at that. That's why I don't want it. It's going to be the Bible from these people giving you this. My child is gonna come home. He's gonna have a pamphlet or something. I don't know what they're gonna do with this on it, and I'm gonna have to resist the urge for me to be angry with my child, and then have to have a conversation with the people at the school, because this will not stand. Once I love the Bible. I'm avidly against what y'all people do with and to the Bible. It's a problem.
Context.
God will use it for good. Restoring this in public schools is key to understanding our history and government.
Opponents see it differently.
That's not education, that's indoctrination.
They are.
Yes, they're going to indoctrinate your children. That's what this is. It's indoctrination. This is the best way to, because like people always frame like the Democrats are going to come do some evil stuff and just make everybody gay. They turn the frogs gay. They're gonna make everybody do all these things. But I'm starting to really think it might just be the Republicans, because it's real easy to hide and like these. Oh, don't you want the child? You believe in the Bible, right? You believe in the body, the Bible. Wouldn't you want your kid to learn the Bible, right? They frame it like that, but when they get there, they get this. They get Caesar Borgia, right? Which, when you look at their images, doesn't look like a small hat at all. Like that's what they're coming with. That's what this is going to be. I can't have this. I can't have that, bro. Now I gotta teach my child this and gotta learn. I'm gonna have to teach him how to cut it, bro. That's all it is. And I just don't. I feel like I shouldn't have to do that. Like, we do have to, like, in the law it talks about we have to teach it to our children. But we don't, like, I shouldn't have to make them a perfect debater to go to school. I'm avidly against. I feel sorry for everybody who's freaking Muslim, because they got a big community. Even up the street from where I live, they got a big Muslim community.
Argue the proposals place too much emphasis on a single religious viewpoint.
It's very clear these lists are intended to push a politically and ideologically motivated narrow worldview on my children.
Education experts also raised concern.
This is introducing all sorts of problems and trouble into our public schools.
UT Austin education leadership and policy professor David DeMatthews questions how the material would be taught in the classroom.
Whose version of the Bible are you bringing in? What is the interpretation? Are teachers even prepared to teach this content?
The proposals.
Yeah, whose Bible are you bringing in there? Because last time we interacted with y'all giving us the Bible, it was a slave Bible with Exodus ripped out, all the Old Testament verses ripped out. We got slaves obey their masters. That's what we got. Whose interpretation? Because when I look at y'all's interpretation, I go to gotquestions.org, where Christians go to get theological breakdowns and ideologies. You have the Trinity. You have antinomianism, where you can break the laws of God and it doesn't matter, just grace, hyper grace, virgin birth, manifest destiny. That comes from a various part of Christian. That was an expanded version of the doctrine of discovery. Like, that's what y'all came with the Bible. And I'm supposed to accept y'all. These people can never understand what God is like. There's no way you can look at what the European man has done. Like, this, I don't even believe what I'm about to say is racist. If anybody who's logical and rational and who believes in a higher power, a loving higher power, who's like, he believes in judgment, he believes in mercy, right? He believes he is righteous, and he believes in people like exuding righteousness. There's no way you could believe in that type of figure, even if you're agnostic, and look at what the European man has done since the 4th century with Greece, all the way to 2026 and think that these people understand God. There's no way. There's only one person they understand, and it's Hashatan, is Satan. That is it. Like, that's like, if we're gonna be really realistic right now, that's the only way, that's the only thing these people understand. And this is the people who's supposed to teach you your Bible? Imagine that, man. Imagine that.
As Texas.
Look at these idols. It's just that's exactly why. The damn idols. Let's look at this real fast. Where is this? Maccabees 3:48. Right? When you look at this, right? Maccabees 3:48. It says the Gentiles, I'm reading it in the GNT. It says the Gentiles have consulted their idols in such a situation, but the Israelites unrolled the book of the law to search God's guidance. That's what we do. Y'all consult idols. Y'all make Caesar Borgia, white Jesus Christ, a idol, worship that, and consult that. What that idol says is, oh, you don't have to keep the laws of God no more. Oh, I sent Paul to bring in the Gentiles, right? You know, right? And that's why we have that's why we have Israelites saying salvation for all people. You know, they've drunken of that Kool-Aid, right? They've drunken of that Kool-Aid and now are bugged the fuck out, right? Christ came through a virgin birth. The Holy Spirit came and committed adultery with Mary. Imagine that the righteous and Holy Spirit commit, according to Christians, not me. This is what Yachty believes. The holy and righteous Holy Spirit came in and committed adultery with Mary to conceive the most righteous being to ever exist on this earth. Christianity. That's why you can't teach. Y'all consult idols, because that when you look at the virgin birth and not the Immaculate Conception, but the virgin birth. When you look at that ideology, that pre-existed Christianity. Greeks, Romans believe that. Various other nationalities, their idols, their gods believe that. And now, since that's what y'all believed in, you have something called the Catholic Church, the universal church. Y'all universally allowed everybody into this specific church, and they brought their ideologies. That's why y'all celebrate Christmas on December 25th. Right? Christianity. Gentiles, right? You funny. But I was gonna say, y'all consult idols. I can't have idol worshipers consulting idols and then teaching my children the Bible. I cannot have it. I have 2 children. I have to send them to public school because, you know, captivity. Not everybody has the infinite amount of money to homeschool their children. It is what it is, and it's this. I can't rock with this at all. Let's continue this, and I'm gonna read some Bible.
This continues to shape what more than 5 million public school students learn.
These traditions are essential for understanding, upholding, and at times defending Western civilization.
See, these traditions, Bible. Let's go to the Bible. These traditions. Look at this. Let me show you one thing I hate about this. This is what's crazy. This is gonna be right on brand for what I was talking about. So it says Colossians 2:8, beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, which is all of Christianity, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ. This is what I don't want. They're not gonna teach Christ. What I mean by teaching Christ, the pure understanding of what he taught and who he was and what he looked like. They're trying to spoil our kids before they become adults to where now they don't question it. It's all after the tradition of men. We can't have that, bro. We can't have that.
Reading list overwhelmingly represents a politically conservative.
Wait a minute, man. One more point. Y'all really, I'm speaking to people in Texas. Y'all really want the people who changed Texas curriculum to say, instead of slavery in Texas, it was indentured servitude, and like we just migrated here. That's what you want teaching the Bible to your kids? That is crazy. I'm not having it.
Worldview. The State Board of Education is expected to take its final votes Friday. Decisions that could redefine how Texas students learn and understand history for years to come. In Tarrant County, I'm Adriana D'Alba.
And I'm gonna say it like this: no. So it's passed. This must have been old. It's 5 days ago. This is days before it passed. So no. We will send letter. Like I will look. I usually don't involve myself physically into politics. I understand it and what goes on, but no, I'm sending letters. I don't want to hear nothing about the Bible from you people. I don't care if it's black teachers. My son has black teachers, right? And one Hispanic. They're all Israel. Like I don't think he has any European teachers. I've met them. I don't believe he has any European teachers. But I don't want y'all teaching my son the Bible because y'all are gonna do and say things. And this is ultimately all these things, all three of these topics. When it comes to what was the first one? Oh yeah, about the people on the left who are protesting the image of the beast. Kanye West, them trying to make it to where he can't have his concert in San Antonio because he represents something contrary to the image of the beast, which is respecting the small hats. And this, y'all are trying to instill the image of the beast onto our children before anything even starts, before they finally get to live and make choices themselves. I can't allow that, because part of the image of the beast is these small hats being the true children of God. And what they're doing is Psalms 83 verbatim. So look at this, Psalms 83 and 1, a psalm of Asaph. O God, do not keep silence. Do not hold your peace or be still, O God. For behold, your enemies make an uproar. Those who hate you have raised their heads. They lay crafty plans against your people. They consult together against your treasured ones, right? Your treasured ones or your hidden ones. This is making reference to the actual Israelites. They make crafty plans. This isn't all the nations specifically getting together at a chair, a big ass table saying, we're gonna just go against the Israelites. That's not what they do. That's not literally what's happening. These people make what you could say laws, belief systems, and philosophies to make it to where the actual true children of God, that doesn't get made manifest. That's not made known. You have to accept these people as the true children of God, as they're having the biggest homosexual fest in Jerusalem, as they're as 90%, at least 90% of them are secular and don't believe in God, but for some reason the curses of God aren't applicable to them. As they commit genocides throughout the world and start and bring America into wars that don't benefit them at all, it only hurt us economically and the world economically. But we have to believe those are the people. It starts with things like this and laws like this. That's what that is. That's how they've consulted together to consult against the treasure ones. They say, come, let us wipe them out as a nation. Let the name of Israel be remembered no more, because they've replaced it. These people over there with these small hats as a replacement. The curly cues and them ugly ass little suits they've been wearing is a replacement. We're supposed to be the actual Jews, the actual Israelites are supposed to be the most we're supposed to be looked at as like, wow, look at them, look at their flavor, look at their glory. But these people are arguing with the Belgium government's arguing with the Belgium government, saying it's anti-Semitic for them to say they can't do moils, right? Go look at what that. I'm not going to say that on this because I've already been kind of playing loosey goosey with my wordplay. But the type of circumcision they want to do, the Belgian government said they're not going to allow it, and they're saying that's anti-Semitic. That's the people who are supposed to be the recognized people of the world. I think not. Right? I think not. So, verse 5, it says, "For they conspire with one accord, make against you. They make a covenant," and it just starts naming the nations. The first one to name is Edom, and of course, it's Edom. The same people who said, "Raise it," like destroy it, when our land was being taken over by the Babylonians. Like, of course, This is why we can't allow them to teach us and our kids the Bible, right? And let's continue. Let me show you some examples of why you can't do that. So in Christianity, they'll say the Bible is everybody's book. Everybody should learn it. And they're saying that without saying it by making it mandatory for it to be taught to all ethnicities in their churches. So, not in churches, in their schools. So, do you think they're going to read this? Right? Psalms 147:19. He declares his word to Jacob, his statutes and his rules to Israel. He has not dealt thus with any other nation. They do not know his rules. Praise ye the Lord. The instruction of righteousness, it was given to the Israelites. Are they? And you haven't done that with anybody else. Are y'all gonna teach that in the schools? No, they're not. They're gonna read a whole bunch of Galatians, the 3rd chapter. They're gonna read a whole bunch of Acts. They're gonna go and look up Genesis presentation and present that. but they're gonna do that. This is also made mention in Romans chapter 2 and verse 17, right? So when you look at 2 and 18, it says, and know his will and approve what is excellent, because you are instructed from the book of the law, right? The Jews understand the truth because it was given to us. It wasn't given to anybody else. The next chapter, then what advantage has the Jew? Well, what is the value of circumcision? Much in every way. To begin with, the Jews were entrusted with the oracles of God, the word of God, specifically. We were given that. Are they going to teach our kids that? No. This right here, what we just read, this covenant that was given unto us, that's what makes us superior to the nations. Do you think they're going to teach that in the schools? No. Right? And this is proof what I'm saying, like the advantage right here. Like exceeding, right? Superior, extraordinary, surpassing, uncommon. This is what makes the true Jews and true Israelites uncommon. The word of God being given to us. So look at this. This is another place they're going to go. So they're going to do things like, because it's going to be taught with the lens of Christianity. Remember I said about antinomianism and not keeping the Torah? They're going to do things like this. I'm just going to read this. Yeah, Galatians. I'm just going to start from 1. I'm going to jump around in this. So it says, "O foolish Galatians, who has bewitched you? It was before your eyes that Jesus Christ was publicly portrayed and crucified. Let me ask you only this: did you receive the Spirit by the works of the law, or by hearing with faith? Are you so foolish, having begun in the Spirit? Are you now being perfected by the flesh?" Right? I'm skipping to verse 5. But he who supplies the Spirit to you and works miracles among you do so by the works of the law or by the hearing of faith, right? Just as Abraham believed God, it was accounted to him as righteousness, right? So they're gonna emphasize, this is what Christians always do. Like when we go out on the streets, they emphasize faith, 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 hyper grace. We don't have to keep the Torah. These are things that they would read. If they're going to talk about the Bible, they're going to have to talk. You're going to have to keep biblical figures. You're going to have to deal with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You're going to have to deal with things that happened with David and the historical aspects of the Jews. You're going to have to deal with Christ, and you're going to have to deal with one of his messengers, Paul. If you're going to talk about Paul, you're going to have to touch on Acts, and you're going to have to touch on his epistles. So when you when you do that, they're going to teach you through Christian eyes and Christian lens. They're going to go here to say you don't have to keep the Torah, so don't worry about the Torah commandments. Do you want your kids to believe that? No. Why? Because Christ tells you to do something opposite of that. That's things that they do. That's not even what Paul was trying to emphasize right here. Then you will have Christians do this. They're going to have to read this, right? So Galatians 3:8, it says, and the scripture foreseeing that God would justify the Gentiles by faith, preached the gospel beforehand to Abraham, saying, in you shall all the nations be blessed, right? And that's where they're going to go to say, okay, well, all people can be saved now because everybody can receive the gospel. Anybody who's been watching me or watching me deal with Jim Green, whether it be the last interaction I did or whether it be the debate that I had in my presentation, I showed how the gospel in the Old Testament, with the word of the gospel, good news, Evangelion is in the Septuagint version of the Old Testament. That word gospel predates Paul's epistles. It's there. Every time it's used, it's mentioned for Israelites. So either Paul's either forgetting that or going against that. And I don't think he's going against that or forgetting that. I think what he's teaching is in alignment with that. So who are these specific Gentiles? These people who were in Galatia. We see in Galatians 4, verse 4, it talks about Christ coming to redeem those who were under the law. Was everybody under the law? No, everybody was not under the law. So this is evidence of Gentiles and ethnos or ethne being Israelites. They have to be unless Paul's contradicting himself. But do you think Christians are going to go to this and give an exegesis or critical analysis of this? No, they're going to read it to your kids. Everybody can be saved. Love Christianity, Catholicism. They're doing what the Catholic Church did, literally. Where's the other place they're going to go? Galatians 3:13. This is the one, if a Christian reads, they'll pull this one, right? It says, Christ have redeemed us from the curse of the law by becoming a curse for us. For it is written, curse everyone who hanged on a tree. So that Christ, oh no, is that one to start? No, I want to start here at 10, actually. Right? Verse 10, it says, for all who rely on the works of the law are under the curse, for it is written, cursed be everyone who does not abide by all things written in the book of the law and do them. Now it is evident that no one is justified before God by the law, for the righteous shall live by faith. But the law is not of faith, rather the one who does them shall live by them. Right? What does that mean, you as a Christian? Verse 13, Christ redeemed us from the curse of the law by becoming a curse for us, for it is written, cursed is everyone who is hanged on the tree. Right? So this is another passage where Christians go to say, oh, we don't have to keep the Torah no more. But Paul doesn't affirm that in all of his epistles. When you go literally to Romans 3, verse 31, it says, do we then make void the law through faith? God forbid. Or you think they're going to give a critical analysis of that when they read things like this? No, you don't have to keep the Torah no more. Believe in God. Believe in Jesus. Well, Jesus is God to them. Believe in Jesus. That's a problem. That is a problem. Now, when it talks about where Christ redeemed us from the curse of the law, I don't know how that's applicable to non-Israelites. I'm trying to figure out how they were under the curse of God when part of the curse is that the heathen would oppress the Israelites. How does that work? That doesn't make any damn sense. All right, that really shows you how the Galatians have to be Israelites, or else Paul is contradicting himself and the rest of the prophets. Problematic, right? Problematic. But it talks about him redeeming us from the curse of the law. How is he doing that? By being that sacrifice for the new covenant or the New Testament, which is only for Israel, according to what God said literally in Jeremiah 31:31. He was that sacrifice. That's how he redeemed us when we finally obtained the kingdom, which Paul and them thought was going to happen immediately. When we obtain the kingdom, then we will be, like I said in the last presentation, Ezekiel 36, the Lord's going to sprinkle clean water upon us and force us to keep the commandments. He's going to put the Spirit upon us to keep the commandments without us having the ability to transgress them. That's how he's redeemed us from the curse of law. He's paid for it. He's paid for it so that he's paid the price so that could happen. That's what Paul's talking about, or else he's contradicting himself and God. Do you think Christians are going to read that to your children and give an exegesis to that? No. Right? Also, let's continue with this in Galatians 3:24. Look at this. I'm going to put this back in the KJV because the ESV does this horrible. So, Galatians 3:24. It says, wherefore the law was our schoolmaster to bring us unto Christ, that we should be justified by faith. A Christian is like, this is like, when I go to explain how we have to keep the Torah according to Paul, what Paul said and what God said, this is one place I will go to get us to understand, like what Paul's saying right here, wherefore the law was our schoolmaster. A schoolmaster is somebody like a teacher that you would have as a child that will teach you and guide you all the way until you're 18. Until you're old enough to leave the house. That's what a schoolmaster did. Now, when you were taught all throughout grade school, did you learn all these things just to throw them away when you became an adult? No, they prepared when you went to school in grade school, that prepared you to walk in as an adult in society, supposedly, right? That's what it's supposedly here for. That's what a schoolmaster is. That's what was prepared. The law was given to prepare us for Christ, to let us know what transgression is, to let us know what a sacrifice is, let us know what atonement is, and to understand what Christ's sacrifice even symbolizes. Do you think a Christian is going to tell your kids that? No. They're just going to read verse 26 all the way down to 28. There's neither Jew nor Greek. You know, we're all one. They're all I don't know why there shouldn't black people shouldn't y'all shouldn't be mad about what Caucasians do to you. There's neither Jew or Greek. And you know what what an impressionable black little kid is going to do, or a Hispanic kid or Native American kid is going to do? Well, I guess since Jesus said that, I guess I have to love them. That's how they install the image of the beast. That's how it works. That's how it works. We're doing the slave Bible all over again. We're making it harder for black people to vote. We're gerrymandering their vote and their opinion about the government. We're making it to where if they want to protest against it, they get locked up forever to discourage people from using their right to protest and assemble. We're going against people who come up against the image of the beast by thinking these people aren't the Israelites and think of yourself as the Israelite. And we're going to teach your kids all of this when they're a child. You're getting the slave Bible all over again. That's what all three of these points, it's crazy how all three of these points all cohesively go together. That's what's happening. They're not going to teach him things like Galatians 3:24. And they're not going to teach him things like Revelation 14 and 12. So Revelation 14 and 12, it says, here's the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. Right? Perfect, like a perfected understanding in religion. You keep the commandments of the Old Testament Torah, and you keep what Christ taught, who pointed you back to that ultimately. They're not going to read this to your kids. They're going to give them the slave Bible. That's why I'm avidly against this, and that's also why I'll be sending a letter up to the school when school starts again, right? And I suggest everybody who lives in Texas to do the same thing, because do you want them to teach them that BS? Do you want them to resolve a racial argument in class with Galatians 3? Do you want that? I don't want that. I don't want that at all. I don't want that. And I'm not going to accept it. But that's pretty much all I had today. You know, I still got like another 40 minutes before the Sabbath starts. Everybody's on a lunar Sabbath who understands Sabbath. The lunar Sabbath starts tonight. Gotta go get some stuff. So, like I was saying before, you know. Oh no, we're gonna play them songs on the way out too, right? We're gonna play them songs, but I'm gonna say this, right? So, don't forget to hit that like button if you haven't. Leave a comment, right? He said, "I seen you teaching for 8 years ago. A lot of people fell off. You still rocking." You know, I try my best. I pray the Lord doesn't bug me out, you know. But if He does, that's the Lord's will. But please don't, right? But I was gonna say, leave a comment. If you're seeing this, you know, if you be on your heart, leave a super chat or a super thanks, depending on when you're seeing this. You know, that goes a long way to go help us fund trips like how we just went to Austin last weekend. Then we're going to Houston this weekend for FIFA. What else? If you want to support us directly, $ Masada DTX. What else? Don't worry. Is there anything else that I forgot? Oh, things coming up. I'm gonna start making a little bit more focused, apologetic content. It's crazy how you got a moron that said this. There's no super chat. Why are you asking for money? I'm asking for people if they want to give a donation to literally help us do specific things. Like that money literally goes to that, right? Goes to helping us, like I said earlier, go to Austin to go teach the word of God. Go to San Antonio teach the word of God. Go to Houston, teach the word of God. We literally do that. That's crazy. And what's funny and what kills me about that, y'all didn't ask y'all's pastor that when y'all was giving money to them to tell you about pork. But what else? What was I gonna say? Yeah. So I'm gonna be doing some more focused content on specific topics. Like one of these topics I wanted to focus on the pos anthropos argument, right? Because I'm starting to see Christians. Let me see what's up. When you gonna update the calendar? Oh, that's coming soon, brother. That we got issues with that. That's the only reason why that's not on there. But I'll put the calendar on. I'll put it on something. I'll make it available for people to see if they haven't seen it yet. Oh yeah, since more Christians are starting, ever since certain people came out with their presentation, Christians are starting to use pos anthropos to say that all of humanity is going to be saved, all of that, all these specific things, right? Trying to say, all humanity is going to be saved, but pos anthropos, like every Greek and Hebrew phrase, has context. Sometimes it's all people, sometimes it's Israel. Sometimes all nations means all nations. Sometimes all nations means Israelites scattered in all nations. There's various other things, right? Everything is mentioned by not mentioned. All words and phrases in the Bible are defined by the context of how they used it. And pos anthropos is no different. So I want to make some content on that as well. That's what I got going on that I would want to mention. I have other things lined up, but that's what I'm doing mainly right now. And I'm working on the diaspora because I feel like I wanna make, like, when you see the people on the 12 tribes chart, I want to make that better. I feel like I think that hasn't been fleshed out. I feel like it's a little too generalized, and the way it's presented, I feel like it makes it easier for Christians to have leverage on us as far as critiquing our understanding. I want to make that better. I believe everybody on the sign, I believe, are Israelites. Everybody on the sign, I can go to archaeology or archaeology, prophecy, curses. We can prove that they're Israelites. I want to make that better. No, the chart is not confusing. Like that, it's not. Like, it's not. Let's be honest, it's not. And that is the problem, actually. It's not focused enough to me. What was I gonna say? But yeah, that's all I got on the pipeline right now. I'm just working on the diaspora. What was I gonna say? Is that it? I think that's it. All right. But yeah, before we close up, I'm gonna play these songs again for the brother in here, and then we're gonna close out, man. With that, I'm gonna say call on Yahweh Ba, Shema Mashak Yahweh Shai, Shalom, and listen to these tracks, bro. Listen.
Yup. Cloud spit out fire, nigga. Jacquard back on there. We living up in hell here. And everything ain't all well here. My nigga, hell yeah. Gotta talk to him one time. Yup. Yeah, it's heaven and it's hell, nigga. Top of the morning, I know it's been a minute. On the beat, I raise hell since I'm living in it. Greenbacks, you chasing after the cheese. The devil walking the block and it's 500 degrees. Dope man pulling up in a Bentley, a small tease. To them young niggas pushing that hard and tall tees. Try and make it out, cause you can make a lot. Trapping out the vacant with stains, busting the breaker box. Drug dealers and pimps that roll skips. Bullet wounds to the body, exaggerating this limp. Yeah, that'll get you respect. And renegade lil homies need the OGs to keep them in check. It's war with gun smoke in the air from self-hatred. I graduated, look mama, we made it. Yeah, out the cage of the piranhas. When niggas never heard of honor, they slime you out for designer, nigga. It's been a minute, the Lord back. Carrying the nation, I'm feeling it in my Lord back. Bringing better days, homie, we changing the forecast. Breaking levees cause the message is heavy as Snorlax, yeah. Yeah. We living up in hell here. My nigga, hell yeah. I got you this verse too right here. Listen. Hey, you see my old man, tell him I said holla at me. I was a young man hoping he'd throw some dollars at me. They bought my sister some food, that made my mama happy. Told me bring my ass inside, she think I'm lollygagging. Hey, I ain't gonna lie, we was hanging out, trying to see what that gang banging about. Yeah, criminality paid, that was the wave. We was just trying to get a grip 150 ways, nigga. Now I'm trying to repent so I could be saved, nigga. Nah, I don't think I'm holier than thou. Unless you a heathen, and I'm definitely holier than now. Big Bible got me surfing through the crowd, nigga. It's Jai Quad by finessing with the style. NLTs and KJVs, it's getting wild, nigga. Where's heaven? We ain't seen it in a while. When the enemy is so hostile, cause we living up in hell here. My nigga, hell yeah. Yup. I tell the truth, I lie to you not, man. We living up in hell here. And everything ain't all well here. We off that welfare, nigga. Yup. We out.
Confessing my sins, hoping I won't transgress again. Emotions within, they tempt, but I will never break a bend. When challenged in this furnace, that fire builds acceptable men. Don't break a bend, endure your trial to the end. Striving for a ruling position, know it's a lot at stake. A lot of people die in this furnace, this ain't no easy bake. The heat will melt your pride away. From his eyes, there ain't no hiding place. Examine yourself daily to prove whether you in the faith. Facing our traumas, the hardest thing we done did. Been warring inside our minds and been mentally torn since a kid. And still, we haven't healed. Brain scarred from pills. Chemical alterations make social encounters weird for real. We try to hide the pain too heavy not to let it show. It holds us down daily. Bear your cross, you better not let it go. Embrace the pain, it makes us grow. Release the shame and let it flow in past situations you're facing. Can't run away no more. You got a big heart full of love, but it's badly bruised. Used to partake in dating, but fear being misused. Just know it's a test, but it's stressful. You try your best, they neglect you. Out of love, you gave it all to a woman that ain't respect you. She fell and you tried to catch her. You did your best to protect her. She switched, but you never left her. She lost the hedge of protection. But our actions could have been better. Our examples warped to perception. With pride, we forced our perspective. We hurt her, scarred her, fell for so long. Father, forgive us for all the people we ever hurt. Criticizing ones with good intentions made them question their worth. And anyone we verbally abused made them question their worth. The lies we told to make it work and life we took away from her. Fighting off temptations, a daily battle with Satan. Of you who makes the rules, hope I'm never in violation. Yeah, whatever, nigga, you say that, but contradicting your state. In your heart there still remains hatred from unresolved situations. Still prone to frustration and physical altercations. And ended up telling lies to hide what it was we were facing. Our hypocritical ways I look upon with much disdain. And suicidal contemplations I turned away from. I'm changing. Came a long way from the wicked stuff you was caught into. From Santeria bees, the water that you was talking to. Idolatry is sad and sickening, pleading guilty. Lord, we filthy sins from my past I committed. Praying the Lord forgive me. Give all our transgressions, forgive me for all my sins. Forgive all of the things that we didn't but could have did. All the lies over the years that caused eyes to shed tears. Constant trial that I felt still got consequences I fear. But sin and disease and I study Christ to receive the cure. Please burn this filthy brown garment off me and make me pure. Refine me, Lord, and make me sure that I won't stray away from you. I pray to you to make it through, so all that's left to do is endure.